Today on Drawbli, Abby is drawing
skulls.
Click that subscribe button if you're new around here.
And comment below with ideas of what we can do to improve.
So, Abigail, you are drawing skulls.
Yeah, so our homework this week was to draw all these skulls really quick. And I actually watched ahead in the video course.
You watched ahead?
Yes. Oh. So I also got to the part where he has us practice rendering them a little bit too. So I start by sketching some and then I jump right into some simple rendering of like adding like lights and shadows.
Is that what you're doing here with the lines? The hatching? Or?
The hatching kind of, but no, actually painting here and a couple skulls. But I like the sketches too. The sketching was really fun as well.
For me, I tried to keep them all super simple. I've not watched ahead to the advanced lectures like you have.
It was really hard, honestly, to draw not just what I saw, but I was trying to...
Whoa, just said no to that one.
Just said absolutely not. I was trying to draw, but just using like a lot of the rules that he kind of put down. Like, look for these placeholders, make this egg shape.
Yep, that's what I focused on.
Yeah, it was actually hard. I realized I'm actually pretty dependent on drawing what I can see.
That's why I specifically tried to do that to it's a system to help you compartmentalize detailed information into simplified forms.
So I definitely kept all these skulls very simple to try to focus on that. They're very sketchy, they're very unfinished, and even then though, I still had to really focus to try to consciously think, oh, I'm painting this here because it's above this and this is supposed to be in line with this, and for the most part that actually lines up in the reference though, as described, but I thought that was really interesting to work from that perspective versus just here's what I see.
Yeah. In terms of a brush, what are you using here? Is that the flat brush?
I think it's just a flat brush.
Do you use that a lot? I haven't asked you what you've been using lately.
If I'm not really sure, if I don't have a specific effect in mind, I will go for the flat brush.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, I like that it has some painterliness to it, so it kind of has that naturally. Although I wish I was better at stroke economy and just using very few strokes. Although I did go in with a little line work on top of that to get some details there. But yeah, no, some stroke economy would be nice.
What did you think about these skulls that were at these kind of extreme angles? I thought these were so hard. These two in particular were crazy hard for me.
Oh, yeah, trying to get them to look anywhere. This is probably why these are some of my sketchiest ones, because I'm just trying to hint almost at the angles that we were at. It was hard. I'm trying to use some of the...
He's got a little visor on.
Well, I'm trying to use some of the other tricks he taught in the rendering part.
Oh, yes. I did watch the first one with using the box for the eyes.
Yeah.
To get the perspective.
Yeah, so I tried that a little bit here. But even he in his videos would occasionally be he'd not so much throw it out the window, but be well, it'll get you started. But then you really gotta work beyond that pretty much. But no, these middle few here were really hard. The last few you can see coming up that are upside down. Yeah. Those were really hard too.
Yeah, I felt, so for me, as I went from row to row here, by the time I was on the bottom row, I felt like I was in my zone, getting my, my actual good skulls in.
Yeah.
I definitely got better as I went along. Do you feel...
Oh yeah, I definitely got better. Here I fell back on my old habits though and just was I see this and I will draw this. I wanted to do some line work on one because it's so satisfying to do line work. I love making lines.
You should paint what you want.
Yeah, that's a good point. But I also want to intentionally practice and get better. So
yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes you have to do the things that you don't love doing, but it all adds up in the end too.
I thought this exercise was actually a lot of fun.
Oh no, I enjoyed the exercise very much. I was just saying for me it's hard to stick to these rules that help me develop versus just drawing what I think I see, instead thinking, oh, here's my egg shape and here's where the eyes go based on that, and this C shape here and that C shape there. But I love that I got to learn it. I think it really actually does make me very much better at skulls in general.
I would say a lot of the time you should paint what you see and not what you know. I say this with sculpting, that you should sculpt what you see and not what you know, because a lot of the time what you know isn't complete, and you can make mistakes based on what you think something is or think something is correct. So, or, I think that the eye socket works in this way, and maybe you just completely misunderstand that, or there's like a little nuance that you didn't fully grasp. So you paint it or sculpt it incorrectly. Whereas instead, if you just sculpt what you see, you can, paint what you see, you can do a fantastic job, as long as you can replicate what you're seeing. But having that underlying knowledge and information, of course, very important as well.
Well, then I'm glad that my go-to habit is to paint what I see, but I do value getting to learn about the landmarks and learn like this goes here usually, and all the time this is this, because sometimes, like you sometimes will sculpt a piece where you have no reference for like the back of that subject.
Yes.
And so you have to go off of what you know. And so then it's very helpful to have things that you know.
It's very helpful to have made something many times, I will say. And that is the exact point of this exercise. It is to paint skulls from lots of different angles many times to, build in that repetition and become familiar enough with the subject so that when you have to paint it from a certain angle, you're like, oh, I've done this before. I know the general position of where everything should be.
And the real challenge coming up after these last 2 skulls, or last 3 skulls, is I'm going to try to paint several skulls totally from a memory.
What?
Yes, no reference, just I think this is where this goes.
Yes, I also did. How many did you do for that?
I did one sketch from a profile that was just a sketch, and then I did 3 more. How many did you do?
I think I did 5 to 7.
5 to 7. That's a good number. That's a better number for sure.
It was difficult.
Yeah, it was not easy. And I didn't really even choose very extreme angles. I think I stuck with some a 2 3/4 views, one looking up and one looking down.
I don't even remember. I actually chose mine completely arbitrarily. I just kind of let them do their thing. I drew a sphere, drew a line on it, and I was like, oh, that would go this way.
Oh, nice. I like that. Yeah, that's a good way to go about it.
It made it kind of painful.
Oh, yeah. Here we go.
Here we go.
Let's see what I remember.
Oh, I also did one in profile.
I gave him an ear because I thought that looked cool.
All skulls have ears.
All skulls have ears. A-S-H-E.
Why? You and your musical background.
It just sounds like something you would say to remember something. It sounds like a mnemonic.
I see that you drew your simplified cylinder kind of flat plane there for the face. Very cool. Ooh,
Yeah.
I like this. I like this technique.
Thank you. I think you'll learn about it once you watch more of the rendering videos. But yeah, here we go. Let's see. I'm just kind of remembering. I like sketching in the dark areas and then blending them out.
I see that.
That's a
cool.
technique I figured out during this skull practice that I think lends itself pretty well to this.
That looks great.
Thank you.
Very fun. I like that you were very sketchy with your first one, and then you full-blown rendered that second one. Do you render the rest of these?
Yeah, I like how they turn out actually.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't watched that next lecture yet. I guess it's just more in-depth on skulls?
Yeah, the hardest part is definitely the mouth though, because it's really hard to hint at the teeth without getting too detailed, but also, and the cheekbones are the hard part too. So my cheekbones and my
the hard
teeth
part.
definitely need work, yeah. But mainly the cheekbones and the teeth.
Yeah, I think cheekbones and that area of the face in general, flowing up and around the eye socket, is a very difficult place to get. There's a lot of variation on people in that area. Yeah, just tough.
Yeah, I was worried this one would turn out too sketchy, so I finished him up just a little bit more, and he ended up looking fine too.
He looks fine.
Yeah, he looks cute. He ended up looking cute. But yeah, there are my finished memory skulls.
Cute skulls.
My finished cute
Memory
skulls. Yeah.
So I definitely feel like you improved here as you went. I like that one. That was a great skull.
Oh, thank you. Thank
Those
you.
really hard angles were super
Those
hard.
angles were so
Oh,
tough.
man.
But they're definitely skulls.
You did so much better on this than I did. That one's super cool. Oh man, both of those were so cool.
Thank you.
And then the final ones there being probably the hardest, but by then you were completely warmed up.
Yeah, it doesn't really show. But there's my skulls. Enjoy.
There's me skulls. Well, great job. If you want to see some more skulls, click that subscribe button.
And comment below with ideas of what we can do to improve as artists.
And this is the part where we say
Goodbye.
Goomba.